Sawadee-krap. Hello world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to this amazing event. This is AI and Robotic Hackathon 2022, the open house enabling AI for zero hunger and climate action. Thank you so much for joining us, especially on the Facebook page. We are going live right now on the Facebook page of AI and Robotics Ventures. I am Joe Cholowit. It is such an honor for me to be here today to officially welcome all of you and to launch this beautiful event we have all been waiting for. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today in the open house, we will discuss artificial intelligence and machine learning for food and climate change. We will learn a lot more about the opportunity to work with ARV and Varuna on the development of machine learning model to address one of our planet's most urgent needs. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look on what will be happening in this hackathon and the open house today. In the opening keynote, you will get to learn a lot more about ARV's aspiration on AI and robotics for sustainable development goals. We have two executives from ARV and Varuna to give us a clearer picture of what ARV has been working on and doing, and what Varuna is looking for, especially from this very hackathon. The session will be followed by a guest speaker from AWS Thailand. He will join us and share more information about the current technology from space to the ground, as well as practical applications of AWS technology for sustainability. This will be followed by our panel discussion, Reimagine the Future, how AI and machine learning empowering sustainable agriculture. And we have two invited panelists to join us and talk about this whole thing as well. Most importantly, at the end of the day, the problem statement for AI and Robotics Hackathon 2022 will officially be announced and discussed at the end of this event. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, allow me to welcome our first keynote speaker to join us on the stage, Dr. Thana Saranwetpan, General Manager AI Robotics Ventures or ARV, who will be speaking about the topic of AI and robotics for sustainable development goals. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
It is my great honor to be here and represent AI and Robotics Venture or ARV for this opening. ARV is a venture studio driven by a passionate team of AI and robotics enthusiasts, seeking to make a global positive impact by leveraging cutting-edge technology to create simplified solutions to business challenges. As a technology spin-off from PTTEP, an upstream national oil company of Thailand, our business objective is twofold. First and foremost is to make a positive impact to the industry where PTTEP belongs, that is, the oil and gas industry. In a nutshell, the oil and gas industry needs to grow with higher efficiency, cleaner and safer operations. The global award winner, the Nautilus, the world's first subsea pipeline repair robot, is a clear evidence of us meeting this objective. It also reflects our vision and commitment toward a safer and more efficient subsea operation of the future. Secondly, but equally important, to the context of being part of the National Oil Company of Thailand, we are also developing and deploying technologies beyond oil and gas, something that we believe will contribute to future sustainability of our nation and beyond. Today, at 3 years old, ARV has made business progress in many dimensions. On human resource, despite the skill shortage and high demand competition, we have managed to scale our workforce from an initial number of less than 10 in early 2019 to more than 300 staff at present. On the infrastructure under PTTEP umbrella, the construction of our new research facility in the Eastern Economic Corridor of Innovation or EECI has been completed. The area has recently been declared as Thailand 5G UAV sandbox. So expecting more and more research related to AI and robotics at national scale in this area. The last dimension that I would like to mention is about our capability to translate ideas to technologies, but moreover translate technology to commercialization. So far we have successfully set up 8 subsidiaries, 4 of which are positioned as a startup company under ARV, and one of them is Varuna, focusing on revolutionizing future smart farming and smart forestry. Through technology deployment, Varuna play a vital role towards sustainable development goals on carbon neutral and climate change without due compromise to ESG aspects. Advancing this technology at the national scale and at the global scale is not easy. So the keyword here is collaboration. At ARV, we focus on collaborating with partners, both from academics and industry, including high potential startup companies, to create innovative solutions and build the workforce that fit the requirement for future and today business. I hope the event organized today and the activity planned over the next few weeks will offer ideal opportunity for all participants to get to know each other, to get to know ARV, and together we make a positive impact to the Kingdom of Thailand. Lastly, I would like to express my appreciation to the Varuna team and our partners for organizing this hackathon. I look forward to a fruitful outcome from this event. Thank you. ขอบคุณครับ
Thank you very much, Dr. Thanakorn Saranvetpan, for your speech and all the information you have shared with us. More than 3 years, ARV has been working really hard and made progress in various dimensions. More than 300 staff have been working really hard to achieve the goals as well. Translating tech to commercial is one of the keys for ARV, and collaborating with partners is definitely our goals this year too. Now, ladies and gentlemen, next we will be learning more about Varuna and their aspiration for sustainable food systems and averting climate change in the coming session. Shortly about Varuna, this is the data platform integrating remote sensing and drone data analytics with machine learning for farm management, forest management, and carbon credit solutions. Today, our speaker will be giving us the insight about the AI and robotics technology at Varuna in the topic of the future of AI and robotics for food and climate change. Please welcome คุณพนัญญา เจริญสวัสดิ์พงศ์ co-founder of Varuna.
Good afternoon, everyone from Thailand and from all over Southeast Asia. So it's my pleasure today to talk about the future of AI and robotics for food security and climate change. So it's quite a global problem, and we cannot solve this alone. And this hackathon, one of the objectives is to have a playground for all of you to join us and solve this global issue of food security and climate change. So I'll just start with some of the context that we are now today, and we would like to walk all of you through what we have done so far and what we can do even more better together with all of you. So the context is in 2020 and 2021, in the first in these years, we all know that 30% of the world's population lack access to adequate food. And COVID-19 has even pushed this situation even more worse and pushed more people into poverty. So the topic of food is a global topic, and we struggle to find a way, any innovation way to serve and solve this problem. And if we look at the statistics from the World Bank, we can see that right now, more than 25% of the world working population are responsible for sustainable and sustaining the food for 7.5 billion people. And this put a lot of pressure on the food system. And it triggers the questions of how we should move on in order to be more sustainable and have adequate food for people in the future, which is continue to arise. So if we see of the technology that we have today and the current production level, the fact is that if you want to feed the world in 2050, which is around 30 years from now, the next 30 years we have to produce the same amount of food as we did over the last 5,000 years. And that's a big question. And it triggers to questions about the roles of AI and robotics to make the food production more secure. How do we secure the food production? For Varuna, we want to serve and answer this problem. We have two approaches to address this. The first one is we have to produce more sustainable. It's sustainable production, which serves the SDG goal of zero hunger. We have to produce more with less inputs, with less resource, less fertilizers, less herbicides, less water, in the same amount of land or even less amount of land in the future. The second thing is in order to fight the climate change, not only we need the sustainable production technology, but we also have to fight the climate change. Agriculture is one of the cause of the climate change, and also it also serves as one that can mitigate that as well. So for the climate change, we also develop the technology to fight this issue and try to reduce the carbon emission as well as increase the storage. So the first one is about smart farm, and the second one is about smart forest. And Varuna would like to be the seed for sustainable future. We would like to provide more crop sustainability and zero carbon solutions to the world. And today we're just the beginning, and we want to move fast and try to accelerate the pace of development to solve these global issues. And we welcome every partners to do with us. So let me tell you the story of how we managed to use AI and robotics for food security and climate change. The key is productivity and efficiency, and that's where AI and robotics come into play. We take a look at the whole value chain from upstream, midstream, and downstream, and we think about the roles of AI and robotics in this sector, how to make the upstream, midstream, and downstream more sustainable, how to produce more on the same amount of land, how to reduce the use of natural resources, how to protect the environment, how to contribute to more actions toward the climate change. And here are the four technologies that we are working on right now. Intelligent spraying, we use image processing from the UAV and the drone. We have data analytics platform that integrated all of the data source, and we try to predict and make the insights from all of the data we have. So I'll just walk you through maybe one by one of how productivity and efficiency increase with AI and robotics. So the first one is drone and intelligent spraying. You may already familiar with the drone because it's very commonplace right now. The drone can do many jobs, not only take photos, which all of you probably familiar with, but it can also do the spraying, and it can increase and boost efficiency 10 times comparing to the manual spraying operations. And it is smarter with the machine learning technology when we can deploy the drone at the right locations and at the right time. We don't have to use the drone for all of the fields if it does not have any problem. So it means that precision spraying will come into play to solve and reduce the use of fertilizer. And that means the reduce of use of natural resources as well. And it also increases the safety of people associated with the job and also help conserve the water. So the drone come into place and help us improve the productivity significantly, help us reduce the use of fertilizer, reduce the use of inputs, while we can produce more and we can we can also conserve the water. The second one is about the land use planning and management. So we have developed the geospatial data platform which integrated all of the data from the ground up to the sky. So all kind of the data will provide us an insight of what to plan, where to plan, and how to plan. And that is the objective of this hackathon as well. We would like to welcome all of you to help us try to complete this picture of what to plan, where to plan, and how to plan. We'll start do the land use classification and have the land use classification map that can identify the different types of crops suitable in each area, as well as the potential use of the land that is not going to be a waste or die land in the future. The land has a lot of carbon storage potential, and if we use it wisely, all of us can help solve the global climate. The third one is about the crop and soil monitoring. Apart from the intelligent spraying, the land use classification, AI and robotics can help do the crop and soil monitoring. This is the example of an artwork, not quite really, but it's the land where you can see the different shades of the land, red, green, yellow, and it reflects the quantity of the soil. So we are able to identify the quality of the soil in each area, and that helps us a lot in improving the soil. So we can have a model to predict the ability of the soil to absorb the carbon, and also make recommendation of the type and amount of fertilizers to improve the crop yield. At the end, all of the value chain will improve. The crop always starts with the soils, and if we treat the soil well, we can reduce the amount of fertilizers, and we can also identify the right action to take in order to make the soil more healthy and more able to be a carbon sink. Next one is about the crop yield prediction and price forecast. So the pain points of all of the agro sectors is about the fluctuation of the price, which also come from the cause of the instability in production forecast. So there are a lot of uncertain numbers in terms of what is the yield that we will get out of this crop in each year, and it varies a lot. Weather and environmental conditions plays an important role in crop yield predictions. So our machine learning model can integrate and provide the crop yield prediction at an accuracy level of more than 80%, and that helps a lot for the industry to plan ahead in terms of the supply and demand and what is going to be like if we export this crop to the world. So it impacts supply and demand as well as the global price. And if we have the crop prediction model and combine this technology with the land use classification, Thailand can become a country that not only produce the crops, but we can also export this knowledge and make the world like a very productive place to be. Okay. The next one is about artificial intelligence for natural disaster response. So we map the hotspot in the area of this country, and we use the AI to identify what would it be. We use AI to identify whether it's going to be the disaster happen in each area. For example, the drought or the flood. We can use this data to make plan ahead of how to use the land, whether we want to plant the crops or not. Also, AI can help assess the severity of the event after the event happened, like after the flood, after the drought. We can use AI to assess the severity without going on visiting to the field, and that helps a lot in the rescue and after emergencies response afterward. So that's all for Smart Farm that we, Varuna, try to solve the global issues of smart farming using AI and robotics, how to produce more in the same amount of land, how to try to push more production, increase the crop yield, how to make the impossible possible with AI and robotics. And the next one, it will be about forest management. we talk about how to reduce the use of natural resource, how to increase productivity. Another one that can help us a lot is smart forest solutions. This picture shows the area right here in the heart of the Bangkok. It's called Bang Kachao area, which is the largest and the last green area that remaining in Bangkok. So the AI and robotics can help identify and classify the crop in the area, and so that we can plan ahead how to plant the trees in each area and how to monitor the growth of the tree. When we plant the forest, it's not going to be a fashion anymore, but it's going to be more sustainable. We take care of the forest that we already planted, and we see it like growing from the ground up to the sky. And after a few years, we can take carbon credit out of that. So our technology will help assess the carbon credit calculation in the area. Once the forest is fruitful, that comes with biodiversity. Biodiversity will grow in the area, and it's all going to help us absorb the carbon emission. So far we have doing AI analytics to solve the world hunger and the climate change all over Thailand, including various of the crop types, rice, sugarcane, maize. We have helped the government solve the wildfire issues. We have tried to preserve the forest area in the Bangkok and in the eastern region of Thailand. And we try to empower our agricultural and forestry professionals to data-driven insights to improve the crop yield, improve productivity, and reduce the impact of the climate change. So I think this is the end of my slides. So I hope that all of you will be part of Varuna team. Together we can fight the global issues of the zero hunger and the climate change. Varuna cannot do this alone. AI and robotics cannot do this alone. It has to come with the communities and all of you together to fight this. Thank you very much.
Wow, what a good session. Thank you so much, Kun Pananya Charan-Sawat-Pong, co-founder of Varuna, for sharing with us such insightful presentation. 7.5 billion people are walking this planet right now, and 25% of the working population are actually responsible for sustainability and the food security that is the problem we all are facing. So 2050 will definitely be the big year for humankind. As the presentation went, will we be able to cope with all of what to come? We don't know, but what we know right now is that we have to move quick and we have to make the change, just as the slides went. This is where Varuna comes in. We want to be the seed of sustainability with the help of AI and robotics and machine learning. So that was a very good one. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have gone through the aspiration from ARV, explore more about of the perspective of the international company like AWS. We will be learning a lot more in this topic, which is the future of technology and approach to sustainability. Even though we all are very familiar with AWS, it is very possible that some of us haven't noticed that AWS, the international company, have been working really closely and integrated deeply sustainable technology into its offering. We will be learning more on how they do it, and this is going to change the world in their part. This is going to be very useful for the session right after this, which is the panel discussion. We will talk more into that. But right now, please welcome our guest speaker on the topic of the future of technology and approach to sustainability, Kun Sarod Punya Pathanakul, Head of Technology from AWS Thailand. Please welcome.
So today, thanks a lot. So today we're talking about AWS on the sustainability. The sustainability thing is not just the day that we have and compare between that we talk a lot in the past that we have a digital transformation. And digital transformation is bring months and years. But when we talk about how to keep the climate, how to keep the sustainability is make more over than a decade. That's the thing that how can we help accelerate on this one. The way is start from the Amazon. Yeah, everyone knows the Amazon is a big corporate that is run online. But I think is how can we reduce, how can we make that sustainability? Beginning from we set up the climate pledge that is founder and also have agreement on the Paris Agreement that is in the 2050 at the years old there we will have a zero carbon. That is a commitment. In the commitment itself, three things happen. The one is to follow up the regular reporting and also checking on the carbon elimination at once. But the good thing is that we reduce on that one and make it faster to the 2030 and now it's up to 2025. That's the year that we coming up. So what happened in the climate pledge that one? We focus in the four things about the collaboration. We share how can we make the world success in the climate and the sustainability things. The sharing how can we reduce on the consumption on the carbon dioxide, that's one. And make a zero offering on that. It's a part of the investor, also the part of the regulation that is concerned. At this moment, how can we apply the technology inside to make it happen? And innovation is coming up on that. So the good thing is about at this moment on this year, we have over than the 320 companies that size across that 51 industry and across that 29 countries. That is agreement on that one. So what happened, what inside Amazon coming up? We start from that. We have a 50 Amazon facility that have on the rooftop is through the solar cells. That solar cell is quite big and a lot across. If you think about our warehouse on Amazon, is think about the 6 to 8 football stadium. That is across that we have in the rooftop in the solar. Accordingly, is go to that. Also, we do the 100,000 on the electric delivery vehicle. That's a part of thing that how can we change. The part of thing is more that how can we bring up the renewable energy. That's a 300 project is coming up. And that one is go through how can we do the 100% renewable energy in the 2025, that one. And that is a sales over that is 3.9 million US across the world. So part of that, we also think through about how can we save the water. So the designs on the data center operation that we have across the global, across the region that is have over than the 60 on that, is go to that how can we save the water. That is called accordingly for the climate. It depends on the country that will adjust the water and utilization and useful on that to reduce and reuse that's over than the 96% that water wasted on that. So what happened in the AWS that is leading for the public cloud. We think always thinking about the sustainability future is one. So that is make that we create the carbon reduction opportunity across the world. That is success in the US that we reduced for 3.6 times for energy efficiency. Also the same that we are Asia Pacific, right? So if 5 times more the energy saved on that one. And that's across is go to that how can we design is reduce from the end to end. Immediate end to end is go to that how can we supply the power to the server, to the computer, to the network in the new way that applying that one. So reduce on that is over than 80% than the energy of this usage. It's been over than the 12,000 megawatt that happened. If you doesn't guess, let me share a bit on how can we save. It look like we save 13.7 million metrics. It look like all the forests in the island that we save, and that is how huge that we can coming up, right? But people will think about how can we help them, how can we leverage on this one. So this thing is coming up that offer all the service that customer is uses in the cloud. That is start from the on-premise that we have a private solution, the IoT that we apply to make it sufficient and make it effective on that, utilize the energy also the effective into the how to carbon reduce on that one. The thing that is exchange into the how can we put the device into the in front of the firewall for the customer tracking for the IoT service and also make it ML to make it happen and reduce the cost on that. And especially in the next frontier, and we say talk a bit on later on this one. Then it also coming up with the innovation is led by the technology. We produce the chipset that is called the Graviton. The Graviton is now is a version 3, and the Graviton 3 is go to that. We reduce the price performance to 60%. It's not just the save cost, but as well as is mentioned about how can you save the energy. And energy is a key thing that is go back into the how to save the world and make it efficient on that one. Also in the machine learning that is use a huge of the power on the computing, on the repeating, on the mechanism to produce a model that one. We also create a chipset and the way that save cost like a inferential, the most effective power, and that is a processor to reduce the cost to use and the power to lending and doing the interactive with the building the machine. That's the part of key thing. And as well as we produce the device and the service that coming up that either or data center is we reduce the power supply to only small one. That is the benefit improving. The one is to save the cost and invest on the energy on that one. The second one is we increase the reliability that we use. You can hot swap, you can manage it. You can keep light on and always on for the customer. That's the key thing, all including in the cooling system, electric supply, that is effective into the customer who are response to do the sustainability, right? And the data designs. And the key thing is go to that. We have some managed service, like a data that we do the proposed view managed service to the analysis on that one. And customer is getting through our cloud and the services on that one. It will save the energy as well as the influence or the sustainability responsibility for the world. That is go to that deployment platform. Also the server and the water that we use that is effective to the customer as well that they use in the AWS cloud, right? And yes, the key thing is that we create the machine learning stack to help under the lower on that one is compute that we produce and fit into the how we can maximize the power to create a model, as well as we have a machine learning platform to make it effective end-to-end to build XLS how to do the machine learning model, as well as that save the energy, and then produce the managed service like of AI ready-made that we do across the horizontal and across the industry, example like a health lake, example like a Transcribe for medical. That's the key thing, especially in the industry that it can track how the machine shaking and predictive maintenance is also save the waste that happen with the customer. That is an example that we go through in the bit by with the processor until the end of the AI ready-made on to help the world and reduce the cost on that one. The one benefit that I would like to show about is Coca-Cola. The Coca-Cola is go to that we have 2 months that is spent to bring the IoT appliance on that one, and after the appliance that one is go to that the 26 power plant that bottle Coca-Cola plant that is applied this one, it can save the 20% of the energy annually. Also the saves the 9% on the water annually. That one is coming up from they do apply the IoT, they do apply the machine learning, and they apply the search vehicle, our ML platform to working on this one. The same thing that cover like how that we support to do the apply the AML and help them to analysis and help to the 40% of immersive on the tracking how they do and the save energy on this one as well. The key thing, the one more is that we deliver this one to the customer. Customer always ask us about how can they help the world, how can they save the carbon, and they want to know that how can they have slides on that and evolve on that. That's coming with the carbon footprint tools that they can go through and understand how can they save the carbon footprint when they're using the cloud. And that is tracking from the size and tracking from the service that they use and due down to that how many save part in the competitive month by month. That is very thing that we create and influence the customer at the end to involve on our sustainability. The next that we think through about is go to that how can we support at the next frontier. So At this next frontier, we also have a service that goes through the AWS cloud station. The cloud station that we have a settle for the fully managed service that control the satellite data. So the satellite data is mean that you bring data, process data, scale operation without you have to settle the station to pick up and bring the data on the low Earth orbit that one. And also the supporting that happen for this cloud station is go to that is subscription, and as well as is support on AWS is go to that. How can we invest $225 million and also invest the people and the professional all go to that consult and make the 10 company help the climate and the space acceleration on this one. Example like a Lunar Outpost. They developed the solution on the space exploration to find out the waste in the space. That is maybe the waste is fly in the air and the space that impact the satellite things that happen. Example like a Leo Labs that is go to the track space debris in the low orbit Earth. Also the Usher space and the Hawkeye 360 that is go to that look into the climate and also check on the space exploration how many percentage with the forest, how many percent on the climate changing in the world. That we also supporting happen here. At the end, we know that it is not just only that customer go to use the service and benefit on the sustainability, but the sustainability is go to that how can we design, how can we use, how can we go to the develop that but in the sustainability way. That's why we get involved on this one. And as we anyways we have the well architected framework, and this new architected pillar is go to that sustainability. The sustainability is go to that how can we make the thing that understand environment impact. If you utilize the code in the maximize, is utilize the resource in the maximize that one. And then it will save the cost and also save the energy to be the sustainability way. And that one is coming here with the best practice to reduce the impact on this one. And for this one and build this one, we go through that how can we create the book and online blog and also the document that consult the customer how to do the well-tech and support into the sustainability on this one. That is the key that I bring up today, and I think it's all the session that thanks. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for our keynote speaking session. This has been a very, very good start for our event today. Thank you so much, Kun Sarod Punya Pathanakun, Head of Technology from AWS Thailand, for sharing with us how deeply AWS has integrated sustainable technology into its offering. And I would like to thank once again our other speakers joining us today, Kun Pananya Jaran Sawatpong, co-founder of Varuna, and also Dr. Thana Saran Wetpan, General Manager of ARV, for joining us in this session as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we are moving on to our next session of today. This will be very important and very interesting session. The panel discussion, we have invited practitioners from renowned organizations from the United Nations of FAO and also the university in Thailand. We are going to discuss more about the topic of reimagine the future, how AI and machine learning empowering sustainable agriculture. During this session, we will take a closer look into the current state of the industry and how we will get involved in the sustainable technology as well. We will take 1 minute and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere yet. All right, guys, welcome back to our panel discussion. We are here with our panelists. Let's welcome them. The first one, Dr. Ravi Ketrapal, Executive Secretary of Asia Pacific Association of Agricultural Research Institution, or APARI. สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
Thank you so much for joining us. นะฮะ Next, we have Dr. Sarawit Supawet, Assistant Professor from Department of Civil Engineering, เกษตรศาสตร์ University Thailand. สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
Hello, thank you so much for joining us. How do you feel joining us in this program? The hackathon is going great, and we are so excited to see who will be joining us this year. How do you guys feel, Dr. Ravi?
Well, it's a pleasure to be invited here and pleasure to listen to the previous speakers.
Right.
I think that set the tone, set the stage for what we may be discussing more. And I'm happy to share whatever we know about sustainability in agriculture, where artificial intelligence and machine learning may play a very important role in time to come.
Right. You mentioned it was really interesting, and I really loved the session before as well.
Yeah.
What do you find very interesting and important that we have to, mention and make awareness for the society this day from the previous sessions?
Yeah, the message I may like to give, what I learned especially from the previous speakers, is the high potential of artificial intelligence and smart farming and
Right.
so on, for how the younger generation should look at it very objectively
Right.
and imbibe it for making a career, because it's the younger generation who makes the country finally.
Right.
And they're so crucial. And the message went very well. How a private enterprise like Varuna, for example, I was keenly listening to Kunbel. I found like a very clear message went on the background of the potential of artificial intelligence, which I believe will go a long way for other corporates and for the younger generation to follow.
Yeah, especially this era that we face so many challenges, AI, robotics, and machine learning
Yeah.
play such huge role in solving all of the
Exactly.
problems. Dr. Sarawit Kap, what did you find interesting and you saw that important to be talked about from the previous speakers today?
The first thing that I want to tell you that this is the time that I dream about, because I've learned a lot on this system for 20 years ago. Then today I have to say many things. Last time I cannot sleep because many words that in my head, and I have a short time to tell them. I think this is you will see and it will be explained, and if you join us in hackathon, you will learn a lot. I promise that.
Right, so we are really looking for the future applicants to be joining us in the hackathon, which will be happening in late of June, and we will be finding out right there. As we have only less than 1 hour today, let's dive into it. Now, first of all, can you please tell us more about your background and what you have been working on regarding artificial intelligence or sustainable agriculture? Dr. Ravi.
Thank you, Joe. Well, I represent Asia Pacific Association of Agriculture Research Institution, where I joined here in Bangkok about 4 years back. I come from a plant protection background.
Right.
I did my PhD from University of Paris in France, where I worked later for European Union for a few years. And then I happened to work in the national system in agriculture. And eventually I worked for Center of Excellence in Agriculture and Biosciences of UK for South Asia. And from there I came here. All through my journey, my career, before joining APARI and after joining APARI, was focused on the areas of work which pertain to sustainable agriculture.
Right.
And in APARI now, what we are doing is we have a network of countries and the international organizations and a lot of education sector and regional fora as members. We try to work with them with a clear vision of strengthening agri-food research and innovation system. So here we work on 4 thematic areas. One is on natural resource management,
All right.
where we work a lot on biotechnology and bioresources. Then we have an area of risk mitigation. We're not on all kind of risk. We are just confined to the risk to the animal or livestock or to the plant.
Right.
Risk from the pest, risk from the excessive use of pesticide, and so on. And then we work on inclusive development,
Okay.
where we try to bring this digital inclusive transformation through a global forum of agriculture research working with few countries. And apart from that, we do a lot of policy and advocacy with the government
Right.
on the priorities of the region. So all this we do with a clear mandate of building capacity in the region, with the mandate of sharing knowledge or a kind of a knowledge management by having the gender inclusivity and taking care that women and youth are actively involved in our endeavors. So we have a very broad responsibility. Maybe we can't do much, but within this broad mandate, we try to do whatever we can. And right now, since I'm chairing the Global Forum of Agriculture Research and Innovation, which is in Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations at Rome.
Right.
There we are trying to do a lot of collective actions on forgotten food. Forgotten food are those underutilized species we want to bring back, which some of the traditional farmers are knowing like how to do and all. So this is a new subject we have taken up, bringing it back to restaurants and all.
Okay.
So we are trying to do collective action on the transformational learning, higher education learning,
Right.
and collective action on UN program of family farming.
Right.
So that is through Global Forum of Agriculture Research. Then we work closely with Tropical Agriculture Platform, where we want to build a capacity to innovate. We all talk of innovation. How many people understand innovation? How do you build capacity to innovation?
Right.
Capacity to collaborate, capacity to bring policies, capacity to really make something work, which require functional skills, not
Yeah.
technical skill.
Right.
Normally we only talk of technical skill, one machine, one procedure, one protocol. People learn, but they don't have a capacity to carry it forward. So we try to blend technical and functional capacity in our capacity building program.
To make
Where
implementation happen.
Implementation happen and people get an idea of the capacity to innovate.
Right.
Because innovation is the ultimate, whatever you do.
Well, you
Thank you.
seem to be a very busy man. I mean, from gender inclusivity to environment to smart farming, that's a lot. And it's amazing because all of the knowledge we have gone through can be shared with other people, including this platform as well, right? Okay, coming to our teacher right here. You have been in the industry for like 20 years, right? Can you tell us more about civil engineering? How does that relate to sustainability and environment and climate change we're talking today?
On the name civil engineering, but civil engineering have a subsubject on that, and survey engineering, geographic information system is under the civil engineering.
Okay.
Yes. Like Dr. says, I'm the one who connect the functional to the developer because I used to be an army officer at Royal Thai Survey Department.
Okay.
I work a lot on the geospatial data.
All right.
And I'm called Lieutenant Colonel before I'm to be a lecturer at university.
Oh.
And maybe you can call me a boss when I in the RTSD.
Right.
And now I'm being the teacher. I know technically, and my experience have to. I know. I understand what the top level requirements,
Right.
and I also understand in technical level as well. Currently, I have two main work. The first is for work with Valuna for move our knowledge and transfer to the private sector.
Right.
And move to the first one, business is the supply chain on sugarcane business. and we're going to be successful in the future. And I hope to help the factory in the sugarcane business, maybe for 60% of factory in Thailand in near future or a couple of years. And in the government sector, I have a lot of work when I being the lecturer at Kasetsart University. For example, I have I co-work with APEC and UNSCAP. Is all of this is building and design and develop the system for climate change monitoring or disaster monitoring.
Wow.
This is my experience. I have a lot of experience because of 20 years. I'm work hard, I'm study hard, everything. I used to study the forestry. I also know about the science, and in PhD graduate I study programming, spatial programming. Everything in my head, I know that will connect you to the developers.
Okay, that's good. So the forestry guy, military guy, teacher guy, and engineering guy, all in one. That's really useful. Okay, having these experiences, and we have a lot of audience from different universities today as well, joining us in this live. I just want to ask you, how do you connect your experiences and knowledge with your students or maybe the people that are interested in this topic of sustainability, AI, and also robotics?
First thing, I have to tell you, you must understand. I can explain you in a simple understand.
Make it easy for you.
Easy, yes. Developer want to use your skill to move this business. You must understand the supply chain of this business.
Right.
For example, today Thailand, every projects in Thailand have components of the supply chain. Satellite provider,
Right.
And company for develop the application, and the customer.
Right.
But all of these projects that occur in Thailand, 100% of workload is 80% for data preparation. Very expensive on 80%.
Wow, that's a lot of percentage.
Yes. If you are a developer, you have to do for the actor like the first one is the slide provider. The middle one we need, and Voluna being today is the processing provider.
Right.
Processing provider for ready to use data. For the third company for design and develop the application direct to
I see.
user, like Google Earth Engine. Google Earth Engine is the good model for being the intermediate components of these supply chains. And Voluna want to be like that by invest the development of people, of the knowledge for building this supply chain successfully in the future. We must remember we are developer to start with this part first.
Oh, that's a very important part though, because you have to connect the dots in order to succeed in the future. So this is very a great program and leads to so many bigger things in the future. Coming back to Dr. Ravi, from your experience, you are based in Bangkok and working with people from basically around the world, not only in Asia but around the world too. What are the challenges that you see these days or the trends in the agricultural technology?
Well, challenges in technology per se, if I have to look at, technology cannot be a standalone solution. That's number one challenge for technology itself.
Can be a standalone solution for sure.
It cannot be a standalone solution. The technology has to be blended with a kind of output from basic science. When you have a technology, okay, you want to use, let us say, AI and ML for some purpose in the field, for crop production, for smart farming, for packaging, for irrigation, for all. But you really need to have those varieties. They will not come from AI and ML. You need to have a high yielding variety. Who will do it? It has to come from science. You will know how to apply a pesticide. It's very important. But who will make that pesticide? Who will check the toxicity of the pesticide, all the toxicity and all the evaluation to use the right chemical?
Yeah.
So what I mean to say, technology is great. It is a big push to agriculture, but technology needs to marry to the basic science output. Neither you can use technology alone, nor you can do research in the university alone.
Yeah.
You have to marry them. And that marriage is something which should be a long-lasting marriage. And that is what is going to bring the revolution. And here, if you see, everything depends on innovation, as I mentioned before. If you look at the last 20 years, maybe a bit more, there were 4 areas which brought agricultural revolution.
Right.
One was mechanization, which came with farm equipment and technology. Second was on the genetics, some good seed. Third was on the fertilizer, and last on the pesticide. So these are the 4 big areas which globally, as you asked for a global trend, which change the scenario of agriculture,
Entirely.
increasing production. It's in Southeast Asia and of course in Thailand.
Yeah.
And then in the last 10 to 15 years, the technology started coming more. And this is where we see the application of the importance of technology. However, if you talk of challenge, in Thailand or Southeast Asia, even in South Asia, I think the challenge is majority farmers are smallholder farmers. Of the 4.5 billion population globally, 6.5 billion, globally, we have 0.9 million smallholder farmers. We should
0.9
not-
million.
Yes, and if you look in Asia, I think it's about 400 million. It's a major chunk of global smallholder farmers.
Right.
How technology reach to them is our concern in Apari.
Right.
Technology can come with the corporate. It will go to the big farmers. It will have big production, big sale, which is required.
Right.
So how to reach to the smallholder farmers who have about 2 acres of land or 1 acre of land? So that is a challenge which is not difficult to overcome. It is our mindset we have to change of working at the national level. When I say the mindset, I hear Thailand has done a beautiful job. What your Honorable Prime Minister brought out way back in 2017, if I remember, a 20-year strategy on agriculture and cooperatives. And that's a wonderful strategy where he focused on technology as such to push agriculture to bring Thailand out of the middle income group. I remember having seen his speech before. I just came to Bangkok that year.
Right.
And-
2017.
Yeah. And he said, like, we want every farmer to earn $14,000 per year, more than $1,000 per month, which is around 35,000 Thai baht.
Right.
And that was a time when, like what he said was 20 years back, it was just $200. So you see the jump he had, the plan to bring to the Thai farmers or the country as such. And this can come only with the technology.
Right.
Of course, after marrying science, not as a bachelor. If technology works as a bachelor, it probably may not be good. They
Maybe
just
too
need,
difficult to be happening.
yeah. So these are some challenges which I believe are quite happening, and I think the government in Southeast Asia, and especially in Thailand, are quite aware of it. And the only point is you have a policy, you have all the right kind of approach, you have your strategic plan. How you implement is only time will tell.
Right.
So implementation finally is a challenge, but hats off to all the technology. It is here to give a push to agriculture production. How we use it is up to the government.
That is so true because having a great plan is one thing, but having great implementation is another, and only time will tell. Like you said, อาจารย์ครับ challenges and trends or opportunities that you have seen maybe in Southeast Asia and Thailand throughout the years. What do you see that the technology that has been widely used among us?
The challenges for developer, for student.
Right.
You must know that you have to learn out of your field when you want to put your understanding to the real business or the real world problem. For example, if you are learning a lot on machine learning, when you want to work to agriculture sector, you need to know another thing. I have worked on satellite data sets for helping in the agriculture sector with develop the system, develop the software for helping them. I know that when you be the people who work with the teams for development, you need to know 4 things. Not only the machine learning. Machine learning is a complement today.
Yeah.
But first thing, when you want to processing a satellite data set, you must know the remote sensing side. Remote sensing side. Do you know how many wavelengths, how they absorbed by chlorophyll pigment? If you understand, you can do better that remote sensing.
Right.
And second one is plant side. You have to do classifications in this hackathon. Do you know how old cassava is? How old sugarcane is?
Yeah.
How old flag is? Do you know how long a stalk of sugarcane is? You know what the difference between 4 heights of sugarcane and what 2 meter height of sugarcane? If you learn more all about this, you can do better on. You really know AI and machine learning programming. This is the challenge for the new generations. If you learn a lot on machine learning, you must understand science and another thing that relate to machine learning.
Because technology itself must come with basic science. So
Yes.
if we work together. What about the trends in the technology world? Have you seen the significant trends in sustainable agriculture world that has been happening in Thailand throughout maybe the last few years? What are those technology that we are focusing on and it's very important in farmers in Thailand?
That's a good question. That today in Thailand we know a lot of today is have a higher precision of satellite data, and AI is coming to make that for which human can do, and let human to do which computer cannot do. That responsible. That the AI and machine learning responsible to this business, and I have to tell you that today Thailand on the government sector, now he know that AI a lot, and he know this we have a good data today, and
Right.
he want to move the technology to the operation, to the field operation, not in the political level only. Today we are going to this way. Yeah.
Okay, back to Dr. Ravi. We have talked about smaller scale of farming in Thailand. Might not be able to access to these great technology, AI, machine learning. What do you think is the key that we have to make it happen in order to help them being accessible to these technology that we are talking these days?
Yeah, thank you for this question. I find this very crucial for Thai agriculture.
True.
In fact, if you look at the strategy developed by the government on agriculture and cooperatives, that needs to be more functional than it is, more implemented. Because smallholder farmers are not small if they become a cooperative.
Yeah.
That is number one. And if we build their capacity to really hire an agency or maybe pooling their resources, they can start using the AI and ML. So these are things which I believe government should be bringing up, but apart from the big corporates who are doing it.
Yeah.
The point is how you have a political will to build the capacities of these small denominators, of the agriculture, playing a very major role for the nation. I think that requires a kind of a very solid planning, and I'm sure because every farmer, whether he has even gone to school or not, he has a mobile device in his pocket.
Yeah, we all have right now.
Yeah, so he is quite, like mobile savvy. He can pick up quite well, even if he doesn't have a formal education from a university.
Yeah.
If he is given the right resources and the right conditions by the government, I believe it can come up. Otherwise, I think communities should take up. We should not always depend on government.
Yeah. The community as
well.
Yeah,
the community as such should be taking up. Because government has too many problems, including political problems of their own survival, always.
Yeah.
Government is any agency between two elections, we call it. So,
let alone helping small scale farmers.
Government itself is not sustainable for me unless they perform well. So, there's a kind of building a motivation for these people. Secondly, I think you need a lot of startups which can be financed by the banks to initiate the application of artificial intelligence and machine learning, robotics for increasing the farm production, which is also another way of looking at. You need entrepreneurs.
Right.
So we have to be innovative, not only with the machine, but how we move ahead. That innovation in the mindset has to be there to make it happen.
I see. Dr. Sarvi, what do you think would be a good solution to help small-scale farmers in Thailand to be accessible to this technology?
The first thing you must understand what really are today in these supply chains. Government and factory and the farmers. If you want to push your technology direct to the farmer, you must know that the farmer not ready to use because of the farmers that not have enough money to buy anything for the high technology.
Yeah.
If you want to push the technology to the real world, you must understand this process and you put the right job to the actors like a factory. You must to help factories, and factory can help farmer. And you can after you help factory by reduce the workload of the human that employee of the factory by using AI, using satellite data to reduce the cost of the factory, and let the cost that can reduce to make higher analysis, make higher helpful for farmers. This is the way it should be in Thailand. If you are in USA or Europe, you can push directly to the farmer because the farmer is ready to do anything. But in Thailand, you must help factory first. If the farmer can go stronger, and then I push that directly technology to the farmer in the future, not today. If understand it, you can move the Southeast Asian by our hand because you are the developer. You can push the technology to our region.
Yeah. We are talking about sustainable agriculture today, and there are so many things happening in Thailand. Challenges from inside the country, from outside the country. We are living through war and challenges and everything. What do you think would be the way to help farmers or agriculture industry in Thailand right now to get closer to that goal of being sustainable in agriculture sector? What do you think about that?
Thank you. This is again a very important question. In fact, we should not look at the academic definition of sustainability. For a common man, what I always say, sustainable is what I am producing as good food. My 3-4 generation after me should be able to produce the same. I explain it this way for anyone.
Okay.
Which means you have sustained. That is one message.
Okay.
Which means lot of responsibility. If what I'm doing now and my great-grandchildren should be doing the same, should be able to do same, using the space, the agricultural land, the water which is there, which is going to reduce with time, and with more impact of climate change.
Right.
Like we know with 1.5 degree more rise, Asia is almost half finished, which is not very far. You'll have a big issue.
Yeah.
So sustainable means we produce food by ensuring that by in the production approach, we don't play with the environment. Now, linking this with artificial intelligence and machine learning, this will help us to produce more. It will help us to use right amount of chemicals. It will help increase the time efficiency. It will minimize the labor force. It will even be useful for disabled people to work for this.
Sure.
There are many advantages of it.
Yeah.
At the same time, we should be using AI and robotics. Not only technology has come, we use it and just make money and increase production. I think we have to use it a bit carefully. And the message to go to farmers or to corporates is making sure that the technology does not put the environment in any case into disadvantage. The message is, and here I'm sure because AI and machine learning, it is a human brain transferred to a machine. It is our brain we give to machine, and then finally machine becomes more intelligent than us. It is like our child in a way. One day they become more intelligent than us. I take it this way.
Yeah.
So the message we need to give here is AI and robotics should have inherent kind of knowledge or processing of ensuring that all the applications are taking care of either adaptation or mitigation practices of climate change. So it all depends on how you move ahead.
Yeah, that's very important and interesting point. And I love your explanation to make it so easy for me to follow through and anyone can picture it in the bigger picture. Dr. Sarwit, AI and machine learning obviously is very important right now. How do we make use of it to help farmers and the industry in Thailand to get through these very difficult times and challenges?
On my opinion, that the problem of Southeast Asian countries is we have to develop more people to build their own systems. Don't buy too much from the first world. Yes. Like a Waluna. Waluna want to be like a Google Earth engine in these regions.
Yeah.
And we do not start first directly to application to the farmer, but we start first on building our system for a pre-processing data. This was one because it's higher cost of this technology is the data. If we can reuse the data from our platform, that we can reduce the cost when we have the project with the factory, with the government, and we can reduce that cost by reduce the cost of the data set, and we can give more on analysis or application more. And we must to invest people for learning more, understand more, build our system by our own, not by too much. If we successful this kind of idea, maybe 5 years or 10 years we can move faster than today. This is really very important on my opinion.
Buying less, develop more.
Yes.
So you are confident that, of course, people in our country can come up with such good idea and solution and everything like that, right?
Yes.
Okay. How confident are you that we can, improve and develop our own technology in the country? Do you think that is too far or it can actually happen right now?
I think it is happening.
It's happening, right?
Yeah, it's happening, but it's in silos. With my review of literature and meeting people around, it's
Right.
happening.
Right.
It has gone in the mindset of people from where we seed is being sown, and the only thing which has to happen is a balance of how you really apply it, how you use it, how you carry it forward. But technology, this younger generation, they are born, like with a mobile in their hand.
Native already.
Yeah, I got my first mobile when I was 40 years of age. And my children had a mobile as they were born in their hand.
Yeah.
So
They are
we
4 days
different.
old and they got the phone already.
We are different species actually, entirely. So this generation is very smart. I don't know if they are very intelligent, but they are very smart. And we talk of smart agriculture, smart farming. This is where they need to be. I tell them, in fact, it's for you. It's a smart generation.
Yeah.
You just need to bring a bit of vertical knowledge, intelligence, patience, nature, environment,
All right.
which I think that balance we need to. Because in our time, our parents used to say, learn technology, learn. Now we are telling them otherwise. Don't be too technological. Don't be. So this is a kind of evolution of the generation and
Yeah.
technology,
Yeah.
which we will all see with time how it goes.
That is why we are so very excited to see who will be joining us in this hackathon. Do you two have suggestions or expectations for those who are considering joining us? Do you have any suggestions for them? You want to go first?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I would say they should be very clear on the advantages and application of the robotics and artificial intelligence
Yeah.
by using their natural intelligence to the full.
Natural intelligence.
Yeah, they should use it full to understand artificial intelligence and robotics. They should be knowing the advantages in agriculture clearly. Then they should be knowing, like, if they really want to make a career, there are job opportunities. There are job opportunities everywhere, whether you are an IT specialist, a data manager, or you want to be a research scientist, or you want to be a processor.
Yeah.
There's a lot of job opportunity. But what I would like to say is, apart from the job opportunities which are there, there is a big future. There is a big future because if I would have been young, like you, Joe, and if I have to follow it as a career, I think I will jump to it with an idea that I will not do job for long. After 5 years, I will have my own Varuna and company or whatever. I
In the
become a
5-year time.
founder.
In the 5-year time.
Yeah,
That
5
will
years.
happen.
So that is a spirit this generation need.
Yeah.
That spirit is required. But unless you do a job, you can't do business later on. You just need to be inside to know the nitty-gritty of the whole thing
Right.
and look at the future potential. And you are serving a great cause for the nation finally, and eventually helping yourself also.
Right.
by doing a good business. Both are required.
Right. I think it's so important that we have to really know or understand what's going on in the industry, because I have talked to many people in the agri-tech industry, and many of them have such great solution for farmers. But then when you don't really understand what's going on in the farmer's mind or the people in the industry mind, it doesn't really connect or be the great solution for them. So you really have to know and understand
Exactly.
clearly on what you are doing, and that will lead to the way. Doctor ครับยังไงดีฮะ So many people are watching right now and they are considering if they are eligible or have enough qualification to join us. What's your suggestion, or what do you expect to see in the teams coming up to join us in the future?
I have to say, if you know some things, but you don't know all of things that necessary to use in hackathon, don't worry. You have to simple. What I would say to you is work hard, and learn hard, learning hard. If you do work hard and learning hard, that you are the one.
Right.
You can join us, and we are the one. You want to join the company that are going to have a big picture of the future. We want to be like a Google Earth teams in this region, and we are going to develop anything to go to that target. If you dream to be a people like that, join us. We learn together. I have learned a lot of 20 years ago. If you are 20, you have 20 more to learn a lot of time. Joy to learn, joy to study, and join us.
Don't be afraid.
Yes, don't be
Join
afraid.
us.
Yeah, join
You
us.
have what it takes. If you believe you have what it takes, you don't have to do every single thing.
Yeah.
You have what it takes, and then you come and join us. Believe in yourself, and then we will learn together.
Yes.
Are you going to be one of the mentors?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
Okay, we will see you. We will see you in there in the hackathon.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So it's going to be happening in late of June. So we will definitely see our panelists today in a hackathon as well, and you will get all the knowledge and everything. More questions that they want to ask you, they can ask you yourself. Today, thank you so much for joining us today. We have learned so much, and it has. Okay, AI is wide lens of technology. Should I be taking care of climate change? First, before zero hunger, that is a rather manual problem on the ground that involves mainly human and not technology. This is the question from our viewer today, sending in just now. AI is a wide lens technology. Should it be taking care of climate change first before zero hunger? That is a rather manual problem on the ground that involves mainly human, not technology. Do you have a comment on that?
Yes, I think we both go side by side. We cannot say which come first, which come later. Hunger is, if you are hungry, you need food within 2 hours maximum. Otherwise, you start crying or shouting. But if you look at the ecosystem, climate change, which we did not feel the impact in the last 2,000 years. And now we know in 20 years we are going to be, I think that is also very close. So it has to be, both challenges have to be, they are interlinked, and we need to be rational in our approach.
Right.
There is a human factor of hunger, but there is again a human factor of climate change.
Right.
It is our survival, our future generation. So I will not isolate both. Though I like the question, I think that's of responsible production and consumption.
All right.
That
that's a
is
key
where
point.
your AI and this robotics play a very important role. And that is where even for zero hunger, for not only food security, but food safety, the consumer's point, everything comes.
Yeah.
So probably we should be more holistic in how we move. And to really tackle the problem, I think is the partnerships. The partnerships, and to see that how we really move ahead. Except for self-hunger, we have to eat for ourselves. Rest, I think we have to do for the community.
That's so true. Do you think which one we have to tackle first, or it must go together? The two problems, climate change or zero hunger?
Together, maybe together. Today, I think that for the human induced, we are making the world war in the future, and we try to use our knowledge on technology to live with that, and together we solve that problem together. I think the ecosystem is many things come together. If you try to live and solve this problem, we have to do everything together, not separate them to solve.
Right. Right. Okay. We only have one question for now. Thank you so much. And it's so important to be talking about this because I remember you were saying one time, watch the show, and then you were mentioning back in 2019, it was about 2 billion people in the world out of maybe 7.5, 7.7 people that are facing food insecurity. And now, and that is before COVID-19. And now after COVID, I believe it might be more than 2 billion people who are food insecurity. And we are, finding all of the solutions that are going to solve this problem or at least cushion the impact. And we are really looking forward all of the teams that are going to join us in this hackathon. Maybe you have some great idea to be presenting and talk about it, of course, in the hackathon that will be happening next month, and we are really looking forward to it. But today we are so honored to have these two panelists to join us. Thank you once again for your talk. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the hackathon. All right? ขอบคุณครับ Thank you so much. All right, we will take a break for 1 minute and be right back for the very last session today, the problem statement announcement for this hackathon. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back to our last session today. This will be the problem statement announcement. And today we have two of our guests to join us and talk about it and explain more about it, what this will be about. This is the AI and Robotics Hackathon problem statement. So I cannot wait anymore. Can we please know right now what the statement will be?
Yeah, so the participants will have to create
the machine learning model that classify crop type of the fields using images taken from Sentinel-2 satellite, and the images that we provide will cover the eastern region of Thailand.
Wow, thank you so much คุณธนกรปัญญาเปลี่ยน Machine Learning Engineer from Varuna. So we are seeing right now is the classify a crop type of fields using Sentinel-2 satellite images. Okay, so these are the two main factors that it must be in your solution or your project that's going to be happening in the hackathon. All right, and the data in this hackathon covers area in eastern region of Thailand. Eastern region of Thailand. How many provinces are in that region? I'm gonna have to ask our speaker, Dr. Anupao Opad, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, Kasesat University. What kind of imagery are we talking about?
We are talking about the Sentinel-2 data, which is actually, if we are talking about the remote sensing, the most important thing that you have to concern is that the data. And for in this hackathon, we are going to use the Sentinel-2 data. So the first thing that you have to understand is that the natures of the data. The Sentinel-2 data actually is on board the Sentinel-2 satellites. It is the passive, what we call the passive sensor. And then you have to know all about the data. I mean the level processing of the data. For example, if you acquire the data from the satellite, right? And then the data come to the ground receiving station, and then as a raw image, you have to process in the first level, and we call the standard product. And then when you get the standard product, it's not ready to use yet. Yeah, you have to
That's
do
a long
more on
way to
that.
go.
Right, and it is very important, and it's going to take some time to do the process again and again if you don't have the ready to use data.
Right.
Yeah, as the Varuna have now, we have the ready to use data. It means that anytime that we have to do the application, we can come back to process the data and then trying to develop the model for any application. So one of the keywords of myself is that the faster the better. The faster the better. Yes, very important. Another thing that if you realize that what kind of data you have to use, and then you manage all about the data, manage your data, and then you have to understand the characteristic of the crop that you want to apply for. In this case, we are going to classify 4 economic crop. The first one is rice, maize, cassava, and sugarcane.
All right.
Yeah, 4 economic crop. I think that you have to understand the characteristic of the crop in both physical and biological. And this one is very difficult part as well. It seems that you have to understand the data. You have to understand your application, and then in the middle, this is the crop classification model, which is you can use any technique you want. For example, like random forest or whatever. And Kun Thanakorn will give more information about this one.
Wow, that sounds interesting already. But this one is not the actual photo, the image that will be used in the hackathon, right? This is only the example. And the real or actual image will be given right there when you are in the hackathon already. Now, Kun Thanakorn, please explain more about what we are talking. This is getting more interesting.
Yeah, so in this event, we will provide you the data, which is the image taken from the satellite, and we also give you the expected result that we want to get from your model. So your model has to discover the hidden relationship or the hidden pattern that link between the input and the output so that it can give the right answer as we want. Plus, since there's plenty of data in the satellite images, so the team may have to decide which data is useful and which one is not, so
Right.
that they can pick the right type of model that give them the best result as based on the data that we provide to them.
Okay, what a challenge. Very challenging, but not too difficult for you for sure. We have one question coming out from our audience. What is the programming language suggest to use?
Well, for the language or for the tools that you want to use, we don't have any preference, but we would like the participants to use the tool that they found fit best with their skill, with their team, and with their people.
Not specific, but if anything that you think it fits best
Yeah, to your team.
to your team
Exactly.
and feel most comfortable using it as your solution, then go on with it, right? Next question is, how will you judge the creativity of machine learning model? Creativity is such a big word here. How creative are we looking at? Are we talking? How creative is it?
So I may give the big picture of this test. So imagine that you use the satellite data, which is around 600 and 700 in the space, and then you try to send something from the space
Right.
To the ground, which is everything like seem to be very difficult to send and very difficult to identify.
Right.
However, the accuracy that you expect should not be 100% accuracy. Actually, more than in the industry, we say that more than 50% will be okay.
Will be good enough.
Yeah.
More than 50% accuracy is good enough because 100% might be close to impossible to do in such a short time, right?
Right. But you have to think about the coverage area, right? If you use the other measurement like drone or UAV or the aerial, the airplanes, and try to capture the data from the ground. You get the data, you get the high accuracy of the data, actually. But if you want to control, the big area, for example, the whole country,
Yeah.
it's impossible. Only satellite can be. Yeah.
Okay. Kun Thanakorn, do you want to add some more ideas of how creative are we expecting?
In terms of creativity, it's something that we found hard to judge, right? So mostly we will focus on the accuracy of the model that you submit, and also the idea that you use to solve the problem that we propose.
All right. We are looking closely on every step that you are going to come up with. So next question will be, how many images in the data set? Are we talking 20 in different times or more than that?
I think it's more than that. We are not talking about just only 1 or 2 or 10 or 20. We talk about 100 of the
Hundreds.
images.
Oh.
Yes, which is what we do. Like we trying to do the time series of the data. So that's why I mentioned in the first that
Yeah.
You have to manage your data, because you are playing with the what we call the big data. Yes, a huge data. But if you can manage the data, and then I think you're gonna take some time.
Right.
And then I think we have the short time period, right?
Yeah.
Around 24 hours.
24 hours.
Yeah, 24 hours.
No.
So
I think it's actually 48 hours.
48 hours.
48
Yeah.
hours.
Still short because for example, if you're trying to interpret the result, right, and then come back to pulling the data for your model, trying to change the parameter or something,
Right.
and then again you repeat the first step again. And if you just start from the beginning, for example, trying to do the pre-processing data, it's gonna take like maybe some time more than a day.
To do it. Usually, if it was an hackathon, what would you think it would take time to finish this project of coming up with a solution under this same problem statement if it wasn't hackathon?
So we have spent months trying to crack this issue without
Wow.
success. But I think one of the reasons that we hit the dead end is that we don't have the trustable data, which is why we put so much attention into collecting the data for our teams so that they can have the good data to rely on.
All right, months. But I mean, everything could be a little bit more accurate when it's in
When you
real
have the
life,
good-
right?
good data.
All right. Do you think it would take months?
Oh, actually, it's sometimes it's more than that. Actually, it depends on the data that you use.
Okay.
Like for example, in this case, we use the Sentinel-2 data, but actually Sentinel-2 data have some kind of, I think, if compared to the size, it's smaller than Sentinel-1.
Right.
In the size of image.
Ah.
So it's gonna, if we use the Sentinel-1, it's gonna take more time, like 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sentinel-2 has been like the upgrade for that version of the imagery?
Actually, it's different.
Oh, different types.
Different sensor.
Okay.
We call the passive sensor.
Okay.
Yeah, but Sentinel-1 we call the active sensor.
Active sensor. Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Let's move on to our next question. We have many people from around the world are being interested in joining this hackathon. So when they join, are they going to have to focus on only the parts of the eastern of Thailand? Can they adapt, or maybe saying if they're from Malaysia, problem statement associated to Malaysia? Instead, do we have different problem statement for people from different countries, or everyone must be focusing on this same problem statement and the imagery that we are giving them in the east of Thailand?
Yeah, so that's why we provide the data that we have the control and that we have the knowledge that this is the right data. So if you use the data from other area, we don't have any way to check that this data is right, this
I
data
see.
is good enough.
I see.
So it will be hard for us to assess the performance of your model.
Okay, that's clear. So we are focusing on the given imagery of the eastern part of Thailand.
Exactly.
But anyway, in the future, like if you want to do it for Malaysia, yeah, I think Varuna have the potential to do so. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, why not, right? It's possible. So, how many example images in the data set? 24 images in different time during 2-year period? I think we have gone through this. Do we have more questions? All right. Oh, okay. People are typing in. Hold on. Could you show us the example of the input image and the output results?
So we don't want to expose our data before the event day, so you will see it on that day.
All right. We are not showing you today. You have to be the teams that are joining us in the hackathon, and I will be talking about who can join in a bit. But for now, if there's no more question, you want to add anything more on this? No, right? That's pretty much it for now. We are revealing every detail in the hackathon. Today, thank you so much for joining us and explaining the problem statement for this session. Thank you so much. ขอบคุณมากครับคุณธนกร and Dr. Anupal. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving forward to the very last part of today. I will be announcing all of the details regarding timeline of this hackathon, what it will be about, and also the price and everything other than that. Let's get to it. Our slides are coming up. This year, ARV opens for the teams from every corner of the world. No matter where you are in the world, you are welcome to join us. Whether in Thailand or abroad, you can also join us as well. We'll be right back in 1 minute for the full detail. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have learned so much, definitely. And now I am going to talk more about the program details regarding timeline, what we will be doing on the first day and the second day of the hackathon, and also the prices and criteria. Now, let's start with this. This year, ARV opens for all the teams. The team of 2 to 5 persons are welcome to apply for the hackathon if you're interested and have some experiences on AI, machine learning, data analytics, remote sensing, image processing, computer vision, and so on, which are relevant to the program problem statement. We do not limit the age or the career of the participating teams. If you are working in the relevant industry, you can join. And if you're students, you can also join as well. If you have a proven record of skills or knowledge in those areas and are able to use the submit code in public domain, please submit your application and portfolio right now to our team. The best-in-class teams will be selected and proceed to join the hackathon in June. A little bit more about judging criteria. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the judges will focus on the quality of AI that each team will submit, whether it provides opportunity to integrate with Varuna's solution or not. Last but not least, how creative and efficient the solution is. Now let's talk about the winning team, what you will get. The winner of this hackathon will receive 100,000 baht in cash, while the second and the third place will receive 50,000 and 20,000 baht in cash, respectively, all in total of about 5,000 US dollars. There's still time for the application submission. Application period will end on May 31st, the end of this month. So you will have about 2 weeks from now to submit your portfolio and your details. After the application closed, our organizer will announce the finalist team on June 10th. The hackathon will be happening the following week, which will be on the 18th and 19th of June. And lastly, all of the participating teams must be able to pitch their solution on June 25th. June 25th will be the final pitching day, and all of the teams must be able to join. What are those happening in the hackathon? The main activities are mini workshop and 2 mentoring sessions. You will have an opportunity to ask the problem statement's owner to get more insights and direct the solution to the right path. On the second day of the hackathon, the teams will meet with the experts in the industry who will give you advice and what you are doing and working on. And finally, all of the teams joining us must be pitching on the stage on June 25th. How exciting is that? And of course, all of the teams that are joining us in the hackathon will be receiving The hackathon kit. This is the example of it. All of the kit will be sent and delivered right to your door, whether you're in Thailand or not. Everyone will be receiving the hackathon kit to be using during the 2 days of the hackathon. Ladies and gentlemen, don't worry if you could not catch up with all of the information and details I have mentioned. You can simply visit arvhackathon2022.riseaxel.com for more information, or contact our organizing team via the contact shown right here on the screen with the email. And you can find this live record of AI and Robotic Ventures Facebook page. We are going live right now on the Facebook page of AI and Robotics Ventures. All right, I believe that's it for us for now. Today has been such an amazing day. Thank you so much for joining us. And I do hope to see you again next month and on the hackathon day, of course. So I'm not saying goodbye for now, but good luck.